All right. Good evening, everyone. We appreciate your time, and we are so excited to see you this summer at Camp Thunderbird. My name is Andy Belich, and I'm the Associate Exec over the summer program, so day and overnight camp. But this particular session is all overnight camp related. Before we get talking and with some information, in the chat, you don't have access to, but right next to it in the Q&A throughout the time for the next hour, if you have a question, please throw it in the Q&A because we're going to talk a lot about everything that your first-time kiddo is going to experience at camp. We'll talk a little bit about what it looks like before you come to camp, what camp looks like during camp, what activities they're going to have, what our health center looks like, our dining hall. All of those things are going to be talked about this evening. So please put it in the Q&A because the chances are if you have that question, somebody else has that question. We want to make sure that you get the information you need from this video tonight. Really quick before we get rolling with all that, I'm going to give you some history of camp. For those of you guys who don't know, we are part of the Charlotte Y. We are located in South Carolina. I know people get confused with that. I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. We have been around since 1936 for a very long time. We have operated at camp on this beautiful property behind me with this paddleboard and canoe and kayaker and the water toys. We've been operating for a very long time. Our kids for overnight camp come from everywhere. So imagine 500 kids coming from mostly the Southeast, but sometimes from Texas, sometimes internationally, sometimes from up north. We get them from all over. That's one of the really cool parts about camp. So your chances are your kids get to be in a cabin with people from different states and sometimes a different country. So that's really special and really cool about the things that happen here. One thing I always like to say is every place has something really cool, whether it's water toys or climbing walls or everything else. All of the stuff we have here, those are tools to build relationships with our kids, to develop a sense of belonging and friendship with those staff and the kids that are here. So for the next hour, you're going to meet all of the directors for overnight camp. We're going to share all the topics. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to step out and you guys are going to meet the next director.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Kate. I'm our equestrian director, but I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what to pack. Ooh, is it going to show up? What to pack for camp. You can't see the packing list. There it is. You will receive this very nice packing list next week in your email. So be on the lookout for that. Things to pack for camp. Obviously, we are outside in South Carolina. It's going to be hot. So most importantly, pack your kids with athletic clothing, things that they're going to be comfortable with. It does get in the 80s, even into the 90s some days out here at camp. Other important things to pack outside of clothing would be your bedding. Our bunk beds are twin size bunk beds. So bring all of that bedding. You can bring a sleeping bag. You can bring sheets and pillows and comforters, whatever your camper needs to stay nice and cozy at night. Things to not bring to camp would be your favorite pair of shoes or your really expensive pair of shorts. Things like that are bound to get dirty or messed up or potentially even lost at camp when kids are outside having fun. So please don't bring any valuables. Similar to that is we are an electronic free camp. So please do not pack a cell phone with your campers. Even those really cool new watches that they can call you on and take pictures on, we don't allow those. If we do see them, we will confiscate them from the campers, lock them up so they're nice and safe, and then give them to you when you return. So when you get this nice packing list, you will see advice on bedding and toiletries, clothes to wear, and then our do not packs. Most important is leave those electronics at home so we can have fun outside at camp. Other important things at camp that happen that you would want to throw in your suitcase is we do have theme days. So let me run you through our themes. We have themes Monday through Friday, and then our 2-week campers participate in a theme dance over the weekend. So on Sunday, you can send your camper in their camp colors, and that camp will be sent to you before your arrival. So our younger girls are pink, our middle girls are green, our older girls are black, youngest boys in West Camp are blue, our middle boys in Central Camp are orange, and our oldest boys in East Camp are red. So that is Sunday, where your camp color represents. Monday is Neon Day. Tuesday, Tropical Tuesday. Wednesday is Tie-Dye. Thursday is Jersey Thursday, so represent your favorite sports team that way. And Friday is Funky Hat Friday, which is very fun. And then our theme dances, again, this is for our 2-week campers because it takes place over the weekend on Saturday night. If your camper is attending session 2 for 2 weeks, their theme is extraterrestrial, so very space theme fun. Session 3 is under the sea, so that can be beach themed or fish, things like that. Session 4 is around the world. This is to represent if your family has a nationality from around the world, think the Olympic opening ceremony. And then session 5 is holiday hullabaloo. So your favorite holiday, whether it be Easter or St. Patrick's Day or Halloween, things like that. And session 6 is our decades dance. So we can represent all the fun decades. So that's what to pack for camp. You can always throw in fun things for our different evening programs that happen throughout the week. Again, as long as it's not valuable and your camper or you would not be upset if it were to get ruined or dirty, you can send that. Last thing I'll leave you with that's important to know when packing, if your camper is here for 2 weeks or more, we do have a laundry service for those campers that will happen. Their laundry will get washed on Friday and be returned to them Saturday. So just good to know when packing. Again, be on the lookout for this and we'll see you. I'm going to pass it on to our next director.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liz. I'm one of the associate resident camp directors here. I'm going to talk a little bit about why camp life. If you're registered, you have already received an email with your user guide pertaining to all things why camp life. This is where you're going to put in your child's land activity preferences. They're going to be able to rank their top 10. This is also where there's instructions to the emails. You're able to send emails to your camper and we print them daily and hand them out. And this is also where you can invite other family members to send emails to, but you have to do it through the platform. There's instructions in the user guide. They just can't log onto the platform. And then this is also where you're going to be able to access the photos. We have camp photographers that take photos during the day of your campers, and we upload them once a day, so you can tune in and see what your campers are up to. But it's all in that platform, and look out for that user guide email to have all the instructions to be able to access. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to the next person.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karen Hester, and I'm the Health and Safety Director here at Camp Thunderbird. And during the summer, that means I manage all of our health center operations. So the health center is open and available to campers 24 hours a day for the entire time that they are here at camp. We staff it with 2 health center assistants, and we partner with Atrium Health, who sends us 2 pediatric RNs each day. We also have the opportunity to do virtual visits through their medical providers if your camper needs that, and so that eliminates their need to leave camp if at all possible. If at a time that your camper sees a doctor and they're prescribed medication, we will have that sent to our local pharmacy and we'll pick that up for you, and then that is billed to your camp account. If at any time your camper is encounters anything other than minor bug bites, a scrape, needs a basic over the counter for a headache, we'll contact you and talk with you about our treatment plan and what you'd like for next steps. So we always try to keep our parents in the loop as much as possible. The best way for the health center to provide successful visits is for each camper to have their Camp Doc profile fully completed. So Camp Doc is our partner in managing all of our information. And within a week or so of your registration, you should get an email inviting you to complete that registration there. This profile provides you the opportunity to include allergy information, dietary restrictions, and any chronic concerns. If your camper has serious chronic concerns such as asthma or diabetes or seizures, anything like that, we'll ask you to fill out an additional chronic emergency care plan so that we can follow your doctor's instructions. If we have questions about it after we've reviewed it, we will contact you and we can make sure that we're all on the same page for that. Camp Thunderbird, while I'm talking about dietary restrictions, Camp Thunderbird is a nut-free facility. So your campers will not encounter that while they are here at in our dining hall. However, I do want to encourage you, if your camper has a severe nut allergy, to have a conversation with them to make sure that they're not sharing any food that they might encounter in the cabin, just to make sure that we're keeping them as safe as possible. Camp Doc is also where we find all of your emergency contact information. If we need to contact you, we will start with our parent information, and then if you're unavailable, we'll reach out to your emergency contacts. So if you can ensure that that information is current and you have notified those emergency contacts that you're listing them so they can be prepared in case we have to make those calls. The last page of the Camp Doc profile is called the Camper Confidential. And this is your opportunity to include any information that you think would be beneficial for our camp staff to make your camper's experience here the best possible. This is also the only page in where you can submit a friend request. Camp Doc calls it a cabin mate request. And you can request up to 2 friends to be in the same cabin with you, but they need to be registered for the same sessions and they need to be within 2 years of your camper's age. They also need to be mutually requested. So if your camper knows that their best friend is coming, make sure that the best friend is also putting down your camper for that cabin request. I do want to point out that that Camp Doc information that you provide is only shared with those who need to know it. Any medical information, including medications, is only available to our health center staff. So we keep all of that as confidential as possible. All medications should be entered into Camp Doc. It includes both daily meds and any emergency treatment medications. This is our only way to know whether your camper needs to take medication. So it is really helpful if you put that information in prior to arriving at camp, or we'll ask that you go in and update that before you leave after dropping off your camper. We give out medications at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and bedtime. And so if for some reason your camper needs to take medication outside of those windows, I encourage you to see if it's an option to stay within those windows. Otherwise, you should reach out to the health center in advance so that we can prepare for that. Please, when you bring your medications to camp to be utilized, we ask that you, there we go, blister pack your medications. And so you can get these blister packs either on Amazon or at your local pharmacy. We ask that you put each distribution in one pack if possible. Sometimes a camper takes too many medications and you need to put them in multiple packs. That's okay. But include their name, their date of birth, and what their cabin number is, and also the time of distribution. So if your camper takes medications at multiple times a day, if you could create multiple blister packs, one for the breakfast, one for the dinner, or whatever that distribution time is, that makes our sorting them a lot easier. On the back of the blister pack, if you would include that medication name and the dosage, that's very helpful. So we know exactly what is in that blister pack and we can match it with what you have in Camp Doc. And then if you'll put the date that you expect that blister pack to be delivered to your camper, we'll also make sure that that's exactly when they get them. Okay, if you're sending emergency medication, such as a EpiPen, if you would please include your camper's name somewhere on that. If there are multiple emergency or rescue meds, put them into a Ziploc bag with your camper's name and date of birth and their cabin number. And then that way we can ensure that they all stay together. If your child requires a specific snack that they take that with their medication, please provide that in the Ziploc bag along with the medications. The same information needs to be on there: name, date of birth, cabin. If they take a rescue inhaler, it's just like the EpiPen. Please be sure that you label that carefully, and that if it is an emergency thing and you're very concerned about that, please be sure that you check in your meds at the main health center location, and you'll be able to talk with our leadership for that. When meds arrive, please make sure that you have checked in your medications for your camper at one of the 3 health center tents around camp. And please, whatever you do, do not send the medications just in your camper's bag. That makes them very difficult. All right, you don't need to send any over-the-counter medications with your camper unless they take them part of a daily routine. So if your camper takes allergy medication every single day, please send that along with the blister pack so that we know that that's a routine thing. If your camper is likely to have a headache and you want them to receive some Tylenol or ibuprofen, you do not need to send that medication. We stock those. All of our over-the-counter medications that we keep stocked in the health center are available through the health center parent pack. Okay, we administer all of the medications to our campers. We don't allow our campers to do that themselves. If it is something that is an injectable, we will have one of our atrium nurses do that actual injection. If you're sending your camper with regular daily used melatonin or vitamins, please blister pack that. That makes it a lot easier for us to make sure that they are distributed appropriately. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pass this back to our next person.
Hi, we're going to go ahead and move on to some transportation. We have 2 options available for your campers. If you have a camper who's coming far from out of state or even out of the country, we do have airport services that you can request, and we will pick up and drop off your camper. The way you do that is you can contact the front desk, and they will give you the airline transportation form, and then it has all the information on it that you need to fill out and what email to send it to. And it's information like their arrival, what airline they're coming on, and pickup person and everything. For campers who are flying into camp, you will be contacted 24 hours before with the name and information of the staff member that will be picking up your camper. We can't give the information out before 24 hours because our schedules change and we're just not able to give you the name before then, but you will be contacted. As far as for campers' luggage flying into camp, if your camper cannot handle their own luggage, you must ship luggage to camp. We are just not able to handle all the big luggage and trunks and everything. Now, if you have an older camper who can handle their luggage, then you're welcome to send it, but it is best practice to ship it to camp, and then we'll make sure it gets shipped back to you after your camper's stay. Our other mode of transportation is we do have the Atlanta bus that will take campers back to Atlanta on closing day of each of our 2-week sessions. So it's at the end of session 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll have a bus that leaves here about 7:30, 7:45 in the morning and drops off in Alpharetta, Georgia. And to be able to sign up for that, you can just call the front desk and add the Atlanta bus. And we will also be able to send their luggage back ahead of time. And if there's any questions about that, put them in the chat. And then I'm going to pass it over to Lexi.
Hey there, my name is Lexi Ratliff, and I am one of our resident camp associate directors. So I'm going to talk you guys through opening day a little bit. One question that we have gotten a couple of times, I'll just go ahead and say it now. People have asked about if the camp colors will be sent out ahead of time. Those will be sent out ahead of time. They're on the packing list. And then another question that's been asked was, when will you know if your friend request was met? The cabin assignments will be sent out Wednesday before your session begins. So that is when you'll know if the cabin mate request has been requested, or has been met. But again, as long as it's mutual and it's within 2 years, they are typically met. So for opening days, our opening days for the 2-week sessions and the A sessions, drop off is from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So the only exception to that is our B session. So that would be like a 2B or a 4B or a 5B or 6B. Those drop-offs are from 1:30 to 3 p.m. We do ask that you not get here super early. It really doesn't impact anything about your camper's experience to drop off at 3 on the dot versus 4:15. So all of the campers' bunks are assigned before they even arrive. So they've already got their bunk assigned, there are cubbies that go with the bunk they've been assigned. And so that just is to ensure ease on your part and no rush of having to get here early. We also have our staff helping the parents move in. So they will actually come to the car, greet you, welcome you and your camper, and they will help the camper get moved in. We do ask, just for the ease of checking in about 500 people at a time, that you not go into the cabin. We have parents stay near the cars. You can help unload, but the staff are the ones getting them into those cabins. And like I said, the bunks are assigned. If you know that your child needs to be on the bottom bunk for a reason such as bedwetting, or that they maybe sleepwalk, stuff like that, that can be put in their camper confidential form. That camper confidential form is used when we're making those bunk assignments. Otherwise, it's just random. But if they have a need to be on a bottom bunk, please put it in there. Okay, so now I am going to move us on to our next director. Welcome, Andy.
All right, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about our daily schedule, kind of what a week will look like for you when you come to camp. So we keep you guys very busy. Campers, we're going to wake you up about 7:30. We're going to get our cabin clean, get ready for the day, get our stuff on, and we're going to head over to our flagpole field where we'll do our blessing, get ready, and go into the dining hall for our breakfast at 8:15. So we'll have breakfast all together. Everyone will eat all together, which I'm about to talk to the dining hall right after this, so I'll share that in a moment. So from breakfast 8:15, we're going to be in our activities from 9:15 to 12:15. So what that could look like is the whole camp gets split in half. So 250 kids will be the younger side. They'll be on the water in the morning from 9:15 to 12:15. The older camp will be on the land. Okay, so 9:15, 12:15, you're in activity time. So land activities, remember, you're walking around by yourself. Everyone in your cabin is going to have a different schedule based on the preferences that they filled out. So again, you're going to have a different schedule personalized to what you like and be able to meet kids outside of the cabin for your land activities. Your water time is already assigned through camp. We'll do that for you. And you're going to walk around with your cabin and maybe the 2 cabins next to you to your water activities. So half the day you're meeting people outside the cabin, the other half the day you're with your cabin in activity time. So from 9:15, 12:15, you're in activities. You're going to go back to your cabin, change, and we're going to have lunch at 12:45. After lunch, we're going to go back to our cabins, have a rest period, just time to chill, get together, relax, and get ready for our activities in the afternoon. So remember, if you're in the land in the morning, you're going to be in the water in the afternoon. Activity times in the afternoon are 2:45 to 5:45. That's our second big block of activities. After 5:45, we're going to walk back. We're going to get changed, and once we get changed, we're going to head over and have dinner, flagpole and dinner in the dining hall. Once dinner's over, right around 6:45, we're going to have what's called our free time. So everyone at camp comes to our rec field. You kind of get to pick and choose you want to hang out with. We're going to provide canteen. It's a snack. It's usually a sweet treat, a candy and ice cream, a popsicle. After our dinner during our free time. That will end at 7:30. Once that ends, we're going to get into our evening programs. So an evening program could look anything from a cabin night, a talent show, a camp-wide capture the flag game, all sorts of really, really fun things that we do in the evening. Once our evening program is finished, we're going to get back into our cabins. We're going to do get showered and do our devotion. We're going to get up and do it all over again. Quickly about the daily schedule. Monday and Wednesdays are going to be our A days. So you'll have the same schedule on Mondays and Wednesdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to be our B days. So you have different schedules. On Friday, and for those of new campers staying on Saturday and Sunday, those are our free days. So you get to pick and choose what activity you want to do, who you want to hang out with, and walk around and do those activities throughout the weekend. It's a really, really cool time for you to learn new things, meet new people, and just do something that wasn't on your schedule earlier. So that's a quick overview of our daily schedule, kind of what a week will look like. If you have any questions about that, go ahead and put that in the Q&A. Since we're at camp, earlier you learned about what you do before you come to camp. You learned about an opening day, kind of what did it look like, a week look like. The next important question we get from a lot of families is, what does your dining hall look like? What is that? So our dining hall fits all 640 people in it, and we're going to eat family style together. You're going to sit with your cabin, and you have a tray of food, a couple trays, and then whatever we're eating that day, whether it's pizza, corn dogs, hot dogs, spaghetti, if it's breakfast and we're having eggs and bacon, if you take the last piece of pizza, you're going to take the tray, get back up, go through the line, fill it, and bring it back for your cabin mates. And then we're all going to clean up together and get out. But who's cooking our food is a great question. We have a contract with Airmark, and we love our chefs. They do a great job. We provide variety for kids. Again, Karen mentioned this earlier. If you have any food or dietary restrictions, please put that in the camp doc, and we'll have that for you as well. We're great with that. If there's any special accommodations that you feel like we need to discuss, please just feel free to reach out to any of us. We'll get you connected to our dining hall. Make sure your kid is prepared and ready to eat, because we want to make sure everyone eats, drinks water, because there's a lot of activities that are happening at camp. The one thing you don't need to do is pack your kid with snacks. We have plenty of food at camp. We'll provide snacks in the evening. Please, please, please do not provide food in your kid's stuff. We don't want anything but nuts or anything coming into a cabin where somebody may be allergic. So please don't do that. But our dining hall, we are a well-oiled machine, and with the partnership of Airmark. So we're in and out of the dining hall 35, 40 minutes max. So we can maximize our time in activities and at rest period and make sure the kids are having a great time. Parents, I do encourage you, if your kid is a picky eater, let them communicate with their staff or put that in their camper confidential so the staff can look out for them. If there's something they will not eat, we're able to ask the chefs if they can cook something else or go get them something from the back to make sure that they are eating, because that is super important. So daily schedule, what our dining hall looks like, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass it to our next director so we can keep you guys moving.
So Andy just talked about a little bit about the daily schedule. So now we're going to talk about those activities. So all the campers will go to water activities with their cabin groups. And those activities include swim time at the pool, as well as our rec swim time. And then our water inflatables. We have our ski tower where they're going to be able to tube, water ski, knee board, wakeboard, try all the things out. And then we have paddle sports, which is stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, canoeing. We even have these fun little blue corkles for kids to try out. And their other water activity is sailing. And then on the land, this is where they get to put their preferences in. We have everything from our ropes courses to arts and crafts to pottery to our general athletics, which is every kind of sport imaginable on our GA field. We have our performing arts, cheer, dance activities. We have something called backyard games. We have archery and riflery, as well as we have a couple add-on activities. We have paintball, ceramics, our advanced wake, and then our horseback, which our equestrian director is going to go ahead and talk to more detail about that add-on activity.
Hi, everyone. It's Mary Kate again. I'm our equestrian program director. So if you are signed up for a horseback add-on, and even if you aren't, we do have some availability left. A quick overview picture of what that looks like. The add-on, that is just your general add-on, is a group add-on where your camper will come to the barn for 2 of their land activity periods. So our older campers will come to the barn in the morning for 2 hours. Our younger campers come to the barn in the afternoon for 2 hours. And what they will do during their time at the barn is they obviously will ride the horses in a group lesson. They will also learn other horsemanship skills such as grooming and tacking and different breeds of horses and healthcare and nutrition, things like that. Those lessons are group lessons. So depending on who signs up for that add-on, we have a mix of, it might be someone's very first time on a horse, all the way to a camper that might have been riding for 10 years and competes. So we do try our best to separate their groups based on riding experience, but sometimes we do have riders riding in different levels within the same group. The other option that we have for horseback is a private lesson, and those are only available to our 2-week campers because they take place over the weekend. Private lessons are a great option for campers that are advanced and maybe not wanting to ride in a group lesson, and they want to work on more advanced skills such as jumping and cantering and other things like that. Our private lessons are also really great for maybe our nervous riders that would really love to try out riding a horse, but really need that one-on-one personal attention to work through some of those nerves. If your rider, one thing that's important when packing for horseback, if you're signed up for horseback, is that you're packing that camper with long pants, such as leggings or jeans. That is a required thing for riding. Is not comfortable to ride a horse in shorts. And then the other important thing is packing boots with a heel for your camper. So that can be riding boots or fashion boots or rain boots that have a heel. If you are unable to provide that for your camper, we do have a riding closet, and they can borrow some of our riding clothes and equipment. We provide all riding equipment and helmets. If you currently own your own riding helmet and would like to bring that with you, you are welcome to do so, only if it is a certified horseback riding helmet, not a bike helmet, not a rope climbing helmet, nothing like that. And it must be in date and not an expired helmet. If you guys have any questions about horseback or you would like to sign up, we do have some availability left. I do encourage you, if your session is full for horseback, to join the wait list. I often am able to pull people off the wait list. It won't charge you if you don't come off of it, but I do encourage people to join the wait list. If you have any questions, please reach out to me via email. I would love to answer your questions and provide some clarity. And I think Lexi's coming back up.
All right, y'all, we are going to talk about cabin life. So there have been a lot of questions about in-session communication. That'll be coming soon. But just to start off, what are the cabins like? So our cabins are anywhere from about 8 to 16 campers, depending on the age. Our staff to camper ratio is 1:4 to 1:6 in cabin. So we also have staff that are on site on our leadership team that does not count in that 1:4 or 1:6. We do have showers in AC in almost all of our cabins. The only ones that do not have showers in AC are what we call our outdoor cabins. Those are for our oldest boys, and that is in what we call East Camp. So all of our campers are broken into one of 6 camps, and it gives them some pride. It means that their cabin is one of 5 to 6 cabins within their camp. So that's within their age group. So we have younger girls, middle girls, and older girls. And then we have our West campers, which is our youngest boys, our Central campers, which is our middle boys, and our East campers, which is our oldest boys. The ages do vary session to session a lot, just because it's split a third of the camp. So if it's a younger average session, then the camps will be younger on average. And if it is an overall older session, then the camps will be older. So just because they're in middle girls doesn't necessarily mean much other than that they'll be wearing a lot of green that week. The colors for each camp are on the packing list. And when you are emailed their cabin assignment that Wednesday before the session, that will have the camp that they are in as well as the cabin. We do have all of our campers and staff at all times practice what we call the rule of 3, which means that they are never alone with someone else. So that means that if they are walking from the cabin to the health center, they're following the rule of 3. If they are walking in to grab a pair of tennis shoes, they're following the rule of 3. We always keep the rule of 3 when we are at camp. So for our 6 camps, we do also have what we call a head counselor. As a first-year parent, the head counselor is the person that will be contacting you for a first-year call, which I'll get back to later. And that is the person that if there's anything going on, or even if you dropped off a blanket last minute for them, that's who will bring it to them. And then so we did have a question about if you already came to an in-person tour, is it worth being here today? Absolutely. This is all of our tips and tricks for a first-year parent. So even if you've already been to a tour, that is very helpful. We do have our last in-person tour coming this Sunday at 1 p.m. So that is definitely a great resource if you are local. If not, totally good. But we did have somebody that asked about coming back to see camp before they actually got here. We do also have scholarships available. So those scholarships can be found on our website under the financial aid tab. Another question we had is, what time is lights out? So lights out does vary a little bit depending on the age of the campers, but it is as early as about 9 o'clock for our youngest campers, and then can be up to 10:30 for our very oldest cabins, but oftentimes they don't last that long because our days get them tired. So we did have a question about combating homesickness as well. A lot of that has to do with just keeping it started on day 1. So part of the reason that we don't have parents come in the cabin is because if a camper is nervous, it can be a little bit harder to say goodbye. Also for homesickness, we have the emails that Liz mentioned earlier that you can send to them through Y Camp Life. And so those get printed daily. So if you email those in daily through the Y Camp Life system, then they are getting a daily letter from you, which can be very helpful for them. They also have the ability to write you a letter, and those get mailed out and will come to you via the mail. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to our next director.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen again, and here at Camp Thunderbird, we take safety very seriously. All of our staff are required to participate in our weeks of staff training. All of our staff are at a minimum CPR and first aid certified, while many maintain additional certifications beyond that. We provide advanced training to all of our lifeguards, specifically related to our lake and our waterfront. And we also provide additional advanced certifications in all of our high-risk areas, such as high ropes, target sports. All of our boat drivers are certified by the Coast Guard. Boat drivers also receive a full day of professional training in our own boats, so they're prepared to provide the best possible environment out on the water. All of our staff are required to participate in several hours of online child abuse prevention training, and we also cover additional safety and child abuse prevention during our staff training weeks. To ensure additional safety and security, all cabins and activities are equipped with walkie-talkies so that they have instant communication should something go awry, and they participate in regular safety drills. We do assign one lead staff person each evening to participate and be what we call the OD, that stands for on duty. And they walk through all the cabins each night to make sure that the cabins are quiet and settled for the night. Thunderbird also maintains a great relationship with River Hills. They're our local neighborhood that we border. And they provide us security guards if we need for any reason. And then they do random drive-through patrols throughout our property all throughout the summer. We also follow all the, we are accredited by the American Camp Association, and we follow all of their standards and protocols to make sure that we are compliant and following all of the rules that you would expect of a accredited summer camp. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Lexi.
All right, so for our in-session communication, children do not have their phones while they are at camp. We do not have campers with their phones, as Mary Kate said. And so with that, that means that they are unplugged. It's a really special time for campers, especially y'all know how it is now. So it's a nice time for them to be separated from technology. With that being said, like I said before, we do have those Y Camp Life emails that you can send. They're awesome, especially in those little cabins. They will have the letters taped on all the walls. It's really sweet. And then they can mail you a response through the actual mail. So the best thing for you is if you want to go ahead and pre-label some envelopes, that can be really helpful for them. And then we will get them sent off. We do not accept packages for campers. You may not send a package to your camper. If you do, it will be held at the front office and handed back to you on closing day. Your camper will not receive a package if you mail it to them. So we do ask that you not mail them a package, especially with food. Andy already said it, but we can't have food in those cabins. So with packages, even though you can't send them something, you can get them something from the store. So our store has lots of options. It'll be open on opening day. So you can purchase then, and you can purchase online from our store. There's all sorts of camp swag, and that's a great way to be able to give them something in session if you would like to. We will also be sending out a weekly newsletter to all of our parents that include just a little peek on what's going on at camp. If you want to see pictures, those pictures are on Y Camp Life. I know Liz talked about that, but that's one of the best ways to see your camper in somewhat real time because those pictures are uploaded every day. We also have our social media. And so we have an Instagram and a Facebook. Both of those are getting posted on all the time. Those are all great ways to be able to keep up with our campers and see what's going on. A question we did get was about water bottles. Yes, you should pack your own camper's water bottle. You absolutely should pack that water bottle. It's really important, especially when it's hot in July or August or even June. It's hot all summer. So make sure those water bottles are packed. We have filling stations all over. I will say, as much as you can, write their name in giant Sharpie, the biggest Sharpie you've got, the biggest label you've got, write their name on that water bottle, write their name on everything you can. Someone asked about packing up on the last day. Our staff do pack your campers up. They will help them getting all their stuff together, but it's really hard to help them find their stuff if their stuff didn't have their name on it in the first place, especially if you know you've got a camper that maybe struggles to keep up with stuff. I would recommend maybe even labeling it in 2 places if one of the labels can come off. Some of the most common lost and found items are your water bottles, flip-flops, and towels. So making sure that all 3 of those are items that you definitely have their name on is really important. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to our next director.
Hi, everyone. Before we wrap up with Andy's tips for campers, I just want to do a quick plug for you to go and follow our social media accounts, especially our Instagram. That is where you will find the most up-to-date information leading up to camp. And that Instagram handle is at YCampThunderbird. And that you'll see lots of fun things, lots of hype videos, things to get excited for camp, give you a good picture of what it looks like here, all the fun we have. And then during the session while your kid is at camp, you can always check our daily stories and recap videos to see a glimpse of that. But Instagram and email is the main form of updates you'll receive before camp. And I'm going to pass it off to Andy. He'll wrap us up and we will dive into our Q&A.
All right. If you guys have a moment, go ahead and throw in any questions that you may have to the Q&A. And I am going to just kind of share some highlights of what we talked about earlier, and then just some additional tips for first timers. They're very random, but very important. So when you are packing, please pack the spray sunscreen. Pack multiple bottles of the spray sunscreen so that staff can spray on. Do not pack the lotion. We cannot help campers with that. The spray is the best kind for us to make sure our kiddos have sunscreen. If your kid is a light sleeper, it might be worth getting the egg crate from Target or Walmart for a twin size mattress and a fan. Yes, most cabins have AC except for our oldest, but sometimes that noise helps kiddos, and the extra pad will help on their twin bed. Karen mentioned this earlier, a camper confidential. Please, 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 please put stuff in there that you would want our cabin counselors to read to make sure your kid has the best experience at camp. So for example, if your kid has been looking forward to doing the ropes course all year long, it's okay to put that in Camper Confidential so that staff can keep that in mind so that we can make sure that happens. Or if they have some cool things that they like to do, like whether they want to learn how to play cards or whatever that is, put that in there so that our staff can help facilitate what that looks like. We have got some questions about the size trunk. What do we pack in? So we see everything from trunks to plastic containers to duffel bags. Totally up to you. If you pack a trunk, it just needs to be 24 inches or shorter. Don't go over like 30 or 36 inches, because we want to be able to slide that trunk or container underneath our beds. So don't get the really tall ones. Please get anything below 24 inches. You can go on Amazon. There's all different brands. Some are expensive, some are cheap. We don't have any strict recommendations around that, whatever you're most comfortable with. And then you could deck your trunk or your container out with stickers or pictures or things of your family that you may want to do, which is a really cool idea. A tip for you guys, if you're worried about your kid being homesick, please don't say, I'll come pick you up on Tuesday if you go on Sunday. Please don't give them that out, because once it comes to Tuesday or whatever you say, we have no chance to work with them. Please allow us chance to work with your kids. I promise you, we will keep them busy. We will be transparent, and we will let you know if your kid is struggling, but we want that time to work with them. If we get through the first 48 hours, we're golden. But we will work with them, and we'll help them have a good camp experience. So don't say, I'm going to come pick you up. Please don't do that. I mentioned this earlier. Snacks are all included. So canteen will be available. Please don't pack other snacks. And they do not need money. It's been a question that we get a lot. Please, please, please do not pack money. We do not want that walking off and go missing. I think Mary Kate mentioned this earlier. Don't pack valuables. If it's your favorite pair of shoes, your favorite shirt, your hoodie that your grandpa gave to you and you love it, don't bring it to camp. Most things will get dirty, or we all have kids. I've got two. Things go missing. So please don't pack your valuable items. Write your names on it. We're mentioning it 3 times. I'm saying it one more time. Write your names on all of the things that are coming to camp. That way we can make sure we get that back to you guys. If you have a little one, like a 7 to 9-year-old, and you're worried about them changing clothes and that sort of thing, it is very helpful for our first-time families to pack in like a Ziploc bag outfits for days and label them. So our staff can go to our kiddos and say, hey, look, it's Tuesday. Your mom or your dad or your guardian packed this. Please let us put this on. This is your day, and we can help rotate and facilitate those kids changing clothes. I know it sounds silly, but it's really important for the younger ones when they get moving, they forget to do those things. And it's easy for us to go back and pull out a baggie and say, hey, here's your Wednesday outfit. So that's just a good idea for you to keep that in the back of your mind. We always get asked, what is my camp color? And I'm saying it one more time, is you will find that out on Wednesday. It doesn't mean anything other than the color and the cabin that they're in. All the activities and everything else are the same. It's just so they have that sense of pride of being part of the younger, middle, and older camps in both sides. So please, Wednesday, you get your camp color. And what we're doing this year is everyone's going to get a camp color t-shirt provided to them already. So we will provide a camp color t-shirts, and then everything else that you may want to order in our camp store, like a Crazy Creek or a flashlight or any of that stuff, you could do that online and we could deliver it to your kid's cabin. So keep that in the back. And those are all of the quick tips I have for you. I'm going to move to the Q&A. I may answer some, and some of the other folks may come up and answer a couple, but I'm going to start with what we've got. Yes, please pack sunscreen for your kids. We mentioned that earlier. The spray con would be the best. Then one of the other questions is, can my 1-week camper stay in a 2-week cabin? We do not mix our 1-week and 2-week kids. So if you have a friend coming for 2 and you're coming for 1, well, hopefully you'll just come to 2 so that we can make that work. But our cabins are going to be 2-week or 1-week only. So we don't cross over. So please keep that in mind. What do we do to keep our kids safe? So we mentioned the rule of 3. We have our health center. We have security. We have what Karen mentioned earlier, our on duty. So the on duty, we call them on duty leadership staff. They come around at night at 1, 2 in the morning, make sure all our kids, campers, and staff, everyone is accounted for in their beds. We have security that comes around. We talk about the rule of 3. We have really good ratios in our cabins. So we do lots of things to keep our kids safe, and we'll talk with them about the expectations when they are here in their cabins and then also as a camp. Please continue to throw questions in there. The next one, will parents help pack up at the end of the session? If not, will there be a place for lost and found? We don't have parents packed up. We're really organized on closing day. And so the trunks and everything that you came with will be packed up waiting outside for you on Saturday morning. And then all the lost and found items, we'll have them placed most likely at the Duke for you to drive by and pull in if your kid is missing something. Background checks. Do we conduct background checks? Yes, we conduct our background checks on all of our staff. And then what's the next question? Oh, I'm gonna have Karen come up here and get the next one.
We had a question about medication and the over-the-counter meds that we provide. The question was, do we also provide chewables as well as those that you swallow? And yes, so we have both children and adult medications. We have chewables, we have liquids, we have traditional swallow pills, I guess you would say. And so those are all available, and we would provide medication that's appropriate to the age and the size of your child.
Perfect. The next question is, when is breakfast, lunch, and dinner? So 8:15, 12:45, and 6:20 are our meal times that we have.
So we had another question about background checks and sex offender searches, whether they're conducted on all of our counselors, guards, and nurses. And the answer is yes. That is something that happens for every single staff person that gets hired for us. And then Atrium does them for all of their nurses that are on staff. Okay.
Sorry, we're just trying to catch up. Is it possible for parents to meet other parents in their kids' cabins? So right now, one of the other things that we have on Y Camp Life is you can opt into a directory. And once you opt into that directory, you're able to access other kids in your cabin's contacts so you can reach out to each other. Also on opening day, if you're sitting outside the cabin, feel free to introduce yourself to one another so that you have each other's contacts. That's also super helpful. Yes, but we also mentioned earlier that we would love for you to stay outside of the cabin. If you're very nervous about what that looks like, please reach out to us beforehand, but it does help with homesickness like Lexi mentioned earlier, so please keep that in mind. The other question we had is about laundry. Please explain what laundry looks like. So we provide the laundry bag for all of our 2-week campers. So laundry is going to get picked up on the first Thursday of the week. Campers can fill that bag with whatever they have up to the capacity of the bag. We have someone come and pick that laundry up, take it off site with the company, wash it, fold it, bring it back in that bag, and then we give it back to the kids on either Friday or Saturday. But that is only for 2 weeks. If you're a new kid coming for 4, you'll have 3 options, 3 different time periods throughout the 4 weeks to do your laundry service. Restriction on the number of bags was a question. That's a great question. I would try to keep it minimal, like a trunk or a container and maybe another bag and then some sleeping stuff. Don't bring 5 or 6 bags, but we don't have a firm policy on that. We don't have an issue, but please just keep in mind that you'll be in a cabin with 12 or 14 other kids and some staff that are in there as well. So don't go overboard with the bags. Can we pack a small flashlight and playing regular cards? I think you meant like playing cards. Absolutely. Flashlight, playing cards, anything your kid would love to do in the cabin outside of the electronics is what we want. So cards, board games, if they want to write letters or read books, all those things would be encouraged. And then bring something like a LED Frisbee to play with friends. You can bring in a Frisbee. However, we encourage all of our kids that all the supplies that they would need at camp are here. So we don't want them to bring a fancy tennis racket to play tennis in because we have rackets. In case that racket goes missing, we don't want to be held accountable for that. So we don't love for kids to bring stuff like that, but it's okay to bring small things like playing cards and the things I mentioned earlier. All right, if you guys have more questions, please put them in the chat as we're trying to make sure you get what you need. Another thing for our parents to know when you're coming, in those Y Camp Life emails, you can send those emails to the campers. However, the 500 kids cannot return those emails. emails. So please keep that in mind. It's usually like a quick message, like an uplifting message your kid could read in the morning or in the afternoon whenever we deliver those. They just can't return them. And I know parents ask about that. Can you speak to the daily devotionals you mentioned? Yeah, so our devotions are focused on character development. So some of the things that they'll learn about are respect, leadership, how to be inclusive in your cabin, not leaving others out, how to be a leader. Some of our older boys will learn a little bit about brotherhood, and we call it swagger. So it's all character development to build our kids up in camp. We are part of the Y, and we are a Christian organization. However, we have kids and staff that come from all over with all different backgrounds. So we're really focused on the character development side. Do they need a backpack? And how far from the airport? Good questions. So we're about 20 to 25 minutes from the airport, and they don't need a backpack, but they're more than welcome to have a backpack, carry stuff around. Most of our day campers will have backpacks, but our overnight kids don't typically have them because when they go to water time, they bring their sandals to walk from water activity and a towel and a shirt, and that's all that they really bring. So we don't have a whole lot of bags, but you're more than welcome to bring one. Do you still do concession stand? So the concession stand is what we call canteen, and the canteen is already included in your camp fee, and that's available to them after dinner at our free time. They can go get a sweet treat, which usually is a candy, ice cream, or a popsicle or something of that sort. A couple other add-ons that I think we mentioned, but I just want to highlight again is we do have paintball for our 12 and above. So that's an option. And then advanced wake sports we mentioned earlier too is 3 hours on one of our Mastercraft boats with 5 kids, so 5 other kids, so 6 total kids, 3 hours every other day. That's if you want to learn more or do more advanced things on the water, and then advanced pottery to finish our add-ons with equestrian. Boys and girls interact, or are they separated? Great question. On the land, boys and girls are integrated. They can mix, they meet people different ages on the land. On the water, it is cabin specific. So boys and girls are separate on the water, but they are together on the land. How do campers communicate with siblings at the same session? So they could have activities together depending on their land preferences and if that works out. But we have all of our meals together, and then every day after dinner is our free times. So they can see them on the free times after dinner and at meals, and then on our Friday, Saturday, Sunday free days, they can pick and choose who they want to hang out with and see siblings. If we do have a younger sibling who really needs to see the older one, we may do that. We just try not to bother the older sibling too much in that space. A noise machine, you probably don't have any reason to send them a noise machine. I would go ahead and just do like a clip-on fan by your bed. It kind of makes just enough noise for the kids there, but a noise machine would probably be too distracting for everyone in that cabin. Is horseback every day? They have horseback. If it's the add-on, they'll have it twice a week. So Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. Or if you do a private lesson, it will just be one time. Can they do multiple private lessons? You can do 2 private lessons for horseback if you would like. That's Mary Kate giving me that info. When to make activity selection. So all of you should have received an email from us about Y Camp Life activities. You can go in and pick your activities now. So you'll pick 1 through 10, 1 being the one you want the most, all the way down to 10. So if you want to do pottery more than anything, put that at number 1. Or if you want to do tree climbing, put that at number 1 and work your way down to number 10. But you can do that on Y Camp Life. That user guide should be in your email. And it looks like all of you are getting my emails because you're on the call. But if you did miss something, check your spam folder. It will be in there. Explain the bandana program more. So our bandana program is an award-based program to challenge our kids and have them step out of their comfort zone and do different things. So all of our activities have red, blue, silver, and gold levels that our kids can work towards. So a red card is worth 1 and a gold is worth 4. The way I like to describe it is for basketball, a red card is dribbling with both hands and making a layup and knowing defensive zones, whereas a gold card is beating the counselor one-on-one to a game of 11. But every activity has that. Arts and crafts, pottery, dance, drama, cheer, tennis, backyard games, kneeboarding, they all have them. And all those points accumulate over the time, over the year. So a red bandana is 15 points. If you're a first-time camper, red bandana is an option that you could go for. If you don't get it your first year, we record the points. So if you come back in 2025, you may be able to get that at closing ceremony. We call your name up and make a big deal of it. So our gold bandana recipients come up with their own entrance on closing ceremony, and they get their name on our dining hall wall. But you will get a little card book on opening day. And so it will show you all the activities and every bandana and all the requirements that you'll need to meet those levels. Closing day pickup time. All of our closing day pickup times are 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays. 9 a.m. to 11 on Saturdays. We'll remind you about opening and closing. You will get more emails, I promise you, as we get closer to camp. Can campers send emails? Campers cannot send emails. They can write letters. Are one-piece swimsuits required for girls? Our swimsuit requirement is on our packing list. It will basically say, please provide full coverage bathing suits. They can be two-piece, but we want full coverage bathing suits. Our staff are required for one pieces.
No string bikinis.
It does say no string bikinis on our packing list as well. Is there a time limit for showering? So you got to think about this. We have 14 kids, 2 or 3 showers in cabins. We play a quick song, try to get everyone showered every night and get them out. So I wouldn't say that there's a time limit, but we do try to keep them moving so that kids aren't taking 20-minute showers so that we can get everyone showered every night. Scholarship available? Yes. Please check our website for scholarships if that is something that you would like to explore. That will be under our resource, under financial assistance on Camp Thunderbird website. Again, as we're doing this, please throw your questions in. Karen's gonna come up and answer a few.
So we had a question about your child takes an over-the-counter allergy medicine. If that's what they do and they take it daily, please include that in a blister pack. That makes it a lot easier for us to make sure that they're getting that medication every day. If it's something that they're just experiencing allergies here for the first time, or it's not an everyday medication, we do carry Zyrtec in our over-the-counter, so we can provide that. But again, if your camper's taking it every single day, it is more helpful if you provide that in a blister pack. I also wanted to point out that if you could, we do offer laundry service, but if you could encourage your campers to not share clothing, that really helps us in the health center. It just eliminates the risk of spreading some contagious is the word I was looking for, a contagious skin condition. And so we try to limit, if you could encourage your campers not to share clothes while they're at camp, that's super helpful.
Yeah, so the next question we have is, can my kiddo bring cameras to camp? Well, that we say no to that as well. One, we just don't want things being lost, even if it's a one of the polarized cameras that kind of go fast. We don't want any photos. We don't want kids in cabins taking pictures in that space. So please do not pack cameras to camp. Explain the difference between tree climbing challenge course and AA. That's a great question. So I'm going to point out on our website, we have virtual tour. You can go on to the virtual tour. It's on our main page of our website and click on tree climbing AA and challenge course. They're very different. Our tree climbing is, you're harnessed in, you have a what's called a Blake's hitch knot, and you're able to kind of ascend into the trees, use the tree limbs to climb, continue to tie pull your Blake's hitch up, tie safety knots. That is available on the website. You can see a picture. And our AA is our smart harness clips, walking around into 24 different elements and 3 zip lines. And our challenge course is a power pole and an alpine tower. So they are different. There are pictures of those online, and you can see that. You can also see those on our social media. Next question is, can kids go to bed early? What do you do with early risers? So our kids go to bed. So really with our ages, they kind of vary on the nighttime. I know we touched on that earlier. Our younger ones will go to bed a little bit earlier than our older kids, obviously. And then with the early risers, you know, if they're younger and they're in those cabins, staff are probably going to be up as well, you know, with those kids engaging, playing games. So it's not an issue if they're an early riser. Plus, we wear them out so much that they do sleep more than they would probably at home. Do you instruct campers to avoid bullying? Well, we do talk to our campers every day. We have what's called a cabin book at night. So it's a sit down with staff and kids at night, and they talk through how was your day? How do you feel? Did you go to the bathroom? Did you take your meds? Do you have sunburn? Do you have any bites? One of the questions we do ask is, do you feel like someone picked on you or were you bullied today? Because sometimes walking to activities and some of these other things are high times for when somebody could potentially be bullied. So we sit down, we talk to our kids every day so that they're able to share that with the staff. So it's the staff sitting down in the cabin, just talking with the kid and making sure everybody feels like they're supported, not being bullied. But we do talk to our kids about how to treat others, what that looks like, especially on our opening day. We set expectations in the cabin as a group, and it's definitely how to treat others as part of what that looks like. But the cabin books help us from a staff perspective to realize what's happening maybe in the activity space when the staff in the cabin are at their activity space. So Karen's coming back.
So I've had a couple more questions about medications, daily medications. What if my camper takes medication that's liquid prescribed, or if it is inhaled? So if your camper uses a Flonase or something, just label it. You can put it in a Ziploc bag. That's really helpful for us with your camper's name. Also put it on the bottle, and that's the same for liquids. If your camper needs to take a medication or take a snap with that, just send it in a Ziploc bag, and we're able to provide that to your camper at that time. But liquid meds are not a problem. We distribute them all the time.
All right, so we got a question about the top bunks. There are rails on our top bunks. And like I said, if you know you've got a kid that is super wiggly or rolls all the time, and you're worried about them maybe rolling off the top, those guardrails are really great. But that's also a great time to go ahead and just request that bottom bunk. That is definitely a time we are happy to help you out with putting them on a bottom bunk for that pre-assigned bunk. And there are not necessarily dim lights that are just in the cabin throughout the entire evening, but our counselors do leave the bathroom door open with the light on so that if a camper does need to go use that bathroom at night, they are able to go find it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Andy for, if you guys have any last questions, please go ahead and throw them in now because we don't see any more at the moment. So this is your last call.
All right, as I'm wrapping, we'll do last questions. Just so your quick reminder is you will get more emails. So you get a packing list parent guide next week. You will also get emails as we get closer, confirming your session so you know which dates you have. And then as we get even closer, a reminder to complete your activities for the summer on the land. And then that Wednesday before you arrive, you're going to get your cabin assignments with your camp color and everything that you need to remember as far as drop-off time and pickup time and all those things in that session. So our last question before we end, late drop-off and pickup early, please email Lexi or myself, and we'll get you in touch with Lexi and the proper cabin life people to coordinate the pickup and drop-offs. Last question, do counselors sleep in the cabin? Absolutely. 2, 3, 4 counselors in a cabin, depending on age and how many kids are in that cabin. So we maintain our ratios, and we do have counselors in training that also will stay in the cabins at night. But I just want to say thank you for all your time. We appreciate you guys, and we will send this video out to everyone. So if you need to reference it again, you will have a link to this Zoom session, and we appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you. Have a good night, and we look forward to seeing you this summer. Have a good night.